This is Algebra 1, Lesson 34, Practice. GCF of algebraic expressions, and our directions tell us to find the greatest common factor. Here we see in A that we have 1, 2, 3 terms. So let's look at each of those terms and look at the numbers. We've got a 6 and a 14 and a 24. I think about 6, but 6 is not a factor of 14, even though it is a factor of 24. So I'm going to have to think of things less than 6. Well, 6's factors, I could say that that's just 2 times 3, and 3 is not a factor of 14, so it must just be 2. All of those are even, so I'm going to say that the number is 2. Then we're going to look at our variables. We've got the x squared and the x and the x to the 10th. Well, it's going to be the one with the least power that they have in, or the highest power they have in common, which is going to be your least power if they have that variable in common. All right, and then I've got a y. I've got a y that is cubed, I believe. For a, yes, that's y cubed. It's a little hard to see. Let me zoom in there. Okay, so that's a y cubed, and then we've got a y to the 5th and a y to the 6th. So they all have at least a y cubed. And then I'm going to look at m's, and the highest is just an m to the first, which is m. So it's 2x, y cubed, m is your GCF. Let's look at B. We're going to look at all our numbers. I noticed that they either end in 5 or 0, so that tells me that 5 is a common factor. And since this one is 5, that's going to be the largest thing that would go into all of them. So GCF is going to have a 5 in it. Let's look at our variables. A squared, a cubed, a to the 4th. The highest that they all have is a squared. Now we're going to look at our b's. So I've got a b squared, a b cubed, and a b to the 4th. That's going to be b squared. Now I've got a c squared, c cubed, and c to the 4th. That's going to be c squared. We see a pattern here, don't we? 5, a squared, b squared, c squared. Good job. All right, C. Let's look at the numbers. 12, 16, 28. Do you see our terms? 1, 2, 3. Let's see. The smallest one is 12, but it's not a factor of all of them. I'm going to think of factors of 12. Obviously, they're all even, so I know 2 would work, but I want the greatest common factor. So we're going to go up from there. I would say 4. 4 will work. And is there anything larger? Factors of 12 are 1 and 12, 2 and 6, 3 and 4. And 4 will work for all of them, but the others won't. Okay, so I did this one a little different than I have the others. GCF is 4. But again, as a reminder, you could always do the factor tree and list out the factors and then just circle the things that they have in common. There's your prime factorization, and they all have a 2 times 2 in common. That will always work if you prefer that way. All right, let's look at our variables. I've got an x, x to the 6, x cubed. It's going to have an x. Now I'm going to look at our y's. Y to the 5th, y squared, y. It's just going to have a y. It's the highest that they all have. Now I'm going to look at our p's. I can see that it's going to just be p because that's the only thing that they all have. So 4xyp is your answer to C.